Hi guys, so we are going to be attempting to be inspired or recreate something similar to one of these Kandinsky artworks. Now, I'm not sure whether we will have spoken about this just yet, but Kandinsky was an artist from the 1920s who's kind of credited with the very first purely abstract artwork. Okay, now abstract, as you know, means there's nothing really representational in there, okay? So you can't see a bowl of fruit, you can't see a landscape, you can't see a person's face. You might look at it and go, oh, but I think this might look like some kind of an instrument. It's been inspired by a guitar. Or you might look at this and go, oh, I think this has been inspired by a birthday party. Or, you know, you bring what you want to an abstract artwork is the point I'm trying to make. So what you can see here is that there's lots of lines, shapes and colours, okay? And Kandinsky actually started painting semi-traditional landscapes, and then he started to break them down into lines and shapes and colours and realised that anything we look at is a series of lines, shapes, colours, textures, okay? So the elements of art. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these and we're going to be drawing some of our shapes and marks on a piece of A3 white paper in oil pastel, and then we're going to be inking over the top to get this lovely kind of watery, colourful background, okay? So I just want you to kind of let your preconceived ideas of what an artwork actually looks like go for a little while and just focus on lines and shapes, okay? So just start with a colour, okay? I'm going to start with black, and similar to the Kandinsky artworks, you can see they've all kind of got this these central dark shapes or lines that run through all of the artworks, okay? Lots of arching lines, straight lines, organic lines. So that's probably what I'm going to start with, okay? So remembering that when you use oil pastel, you need to press quite firmly to put enough of that oily, waxy residue on the paper to make the ink repel off it later, okay? Now, if you want to do a quick kind of sketch or plan first, I'm sure that would be fine, but it does need to be pretty quick, okay? Because you need to move on to this part of the artwork fairly quickly, okay? So I've just got a few marks here now, okay? I might make that center one a little bit thicker. Keeping in mind when you use oil pastel, it does smudge, it can get pretty messy, it gets all over your hands. Alright, make sure that you wash your hands with soap and water afterwards, okay? And just watch your sleeves because you don't want to go home covered in oil pastel. So now I'm just going to come through and add some more shapes, okay? Now you want a mixture of filled in space, so totally coloured in, and white, okay? And the reason we want to do that is because we want the ink to have somewhere to grab onto, so it needs that white paper, okay? But we also want to put, you know, some kind of contrasting texture in there. So I'm just, you know, roughly going about adding shapes and things. Now remember, well, you might not have seen it yet, but Kandinsky loves his concentric circles. So loves putting circles inside of circles inside of circles, okay? It's one of the defining features of his work. So as you can imagine, I would just literally keep going now, adding shapes, colours, textures, okay? And then at the end, what you will do is come through with some ink, okay? Now, this stains your hands, so you do need to wear an art smock and be quite careful about it. It will come off eventually, just not straight away. And what I want you to do is when you take that ink brush out, just be really careful. Now, please don't tap. I go on about this all the time. Wipe, guys, okay? Be really careful to make sure you put the right coloured brush back in the right coloured pot. All right, and all you're going to do is come over the top in areas, okay, and add that kind of patchy, colourful, watery background. I don't want to go over my whole background right now because I've not finished all my marks. You'll see the finished product later, but I just want to show you the process and how you go about it, okay? So remember those key tips. Start with some central kind of dark curving and straight lines. Add in some shapes and colours, okay, later, and have a combination of white paper and filled in spaces so that the ink has somewhere to grab onto, all right? Remember, you don't need to make this representational. Try and avoid putting shapes like love hearts and stars and smiley faces and things like that in it because we know what they are, okay? Try and make it something totally abstract and totally original. Good luck, guys.